have to ignore the Band-Aid mustache. I had like this really gross, I presume it was a pimple and it just got like infected or something, and it just exploded like just this morning, and it wouldn't stop leaking pus and all kinds of grossness. So that's there so you don't have to look at it. And also so it stops just in everywhere. We're going to be working with metalworking. So I, for future projects, need to do more and more metalworking, and I have slowly been doing it. And I've been using this a little bit more and more, which is a metal brake, shear, bender, roller, 3-in-1 set thing. Great for little bits of sheet metal and stuff like that. Fantastic. The only issue is it's not on any sort of platform, and we're going to resolve that. And the way we're going to resolve that is by forcing myself to learn a bit more about a new skill. And that new skill is going to be welding. Now, I've used a stick welder many times over. I'm not good at using it, but I can use it. I can stick 2 pieces of metal together. I haven't used a MIG welder since I was, I don't know, a kid, probably back in school. And I need to become more proficient at it and know how to use it and know what the different settings on the machine do and how it all works for when I'm doing sheet metal work on cars, because I want to get into that bit more. Now, I recently bought this welder and I haven't used it ever before, so I've got to figure out how to set it up, how it works, just how it reacts to the bits of metal that I'm welding. We are using RHS, we're using a thicker sidewall, so it's not going to really translate to using that thin sheet metal you see on cars, but I think it's a good practice, and I need a frame for that thing to roll around on. So, before I just start sticking stuff together, I want to do some just practice welds, not sticking anything together, just do a weld, right? Just on, preferably the material we're using. I don't know if we've got enough of the material, which might be a problem. But what I'm thinking is I figure out a rough plan of what frame or structure I want to build, then cut the pieces out, and then whatever excess I have, assuming that I do have excess, we'll fiddle with those to try and figure out this setup. And then we can actually weld a frame together. That's the plan, at least. All right, let's figure out some rough dimensions. 820 by... All right, I would like to do mitered cuts, which is going to slightly consume more material. But then we have waste. All right, let's make some cuts. Welding, the art of sticking 2 pieces of metal together so strongly that it's nearly as strong as if it was 1 piece of metal. Or perhaps, for me, the art of gluing 2 pieces of metal together strong enough to where they don't just fall apart on first touch. Look, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not going to master this skill in any capacity. But even ugly welding will be beneficial to me, whether it's body work or making up a trolley. I still think it's worth knowing because a grinder is an amazing tool, and we're gonna have to start somewhere. Alright, so I've cut up as much as I can with the material I've got. I reckon I'm gonna have to get another maybe 2, probably to be safe, I'll get another 4 meters of RHS. You'll see pretty quickly that a lot of the problems we're gonna have here is that I just don't have any flat surfaces, and I don't have anything that can give accurate cuts, I suppose. But we'll work around it. I've cleaned up a bit of the offcut here, and we're gonna try and lay a bead on it and just see how it turns out. See if we can mess with the welder to try and get the setups right on it. And if we can, we'll see if we can weld 2 bits of offcut together, see what the weld looks like. We'll grind it away, have a look inside, and go from there. Honest to God, my biggest concern is getting getting burned, because I burn so goddamn easily. Actually, let's first just test that my mask is working, because it's a new one. That doesn't sound like any gas is coming out. There we go. Alright. See if my mask will do its thing. It will! Alright, that is fantastic. So the welder I'm using, the SIG Weld Blue Venom XF186. It's made to be pretty idiot proof, which is perfect for a DIYer like myself. So instead of controlling the ampage and wire speed, what you can do is you can tell the welder what thickness wire you're using along with the thickness of the material you're welding, and it will come up with the correct wire speed and ampage for you. Now, I found it wasn't 100% perfect. I had to fiddle with it for a little bit, but that's coming from someone that doesn't really know what they're doing. So it could have been perfect and I just made it worse. Let's show you what I've done. I think I'm there, I think I'm happy. I'm gonna grind some of these welds down, see what they look like inside, see if there's any pitting or any holes or anything like that. And if there's not, we're in for a winner. Watch out away. I think it looks pretty good. I'm no welding expert, but I think that looks pretty good. The only ones that have holes or any concerns in them are the ones when I started, and after a bit of fiddling I got it. And this welder was pretty easy once I figured out how to adjust it. I shouldn't talk too much though, because now we're going to try and stick two bits of metal together. And I suppose if I can do that, then we can start saying how good I am. And see if it breaks. If it doesn't, we're on to a winner. Let us drop. Fingers crossed. Oh! Oh! Alright, let's cut it and see what it looks like inside. I mean, for my first weld, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to practice a few more times on this, I reckon, and then we'll set up. I don't know how we're going to set up the next thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think that first one was the best. But I'm learning. I've got plenty of things to weld in order to learn all the ins and outs. I've stitched a few bits together there just to. There's no purpose to it, it's just messing around welding stuff. I'm happy enough with that now that we can move on to this. And we can talk about the problems of what we will encounter. This is what we're building. We're building this frame. We've got two of them and then we're gonna put some posts to separate them in between, right? To get their height. A couple of problems. First of all, it's not square. I don't really have a means to make it square. The only way I can really get it square is go like that. All right, make that roughly square. Yep, that's roughly a square. Clamp it down as it is. That's what we're gonna do, right? Not great, but it's what we can do. So the next issue, I don't have a large flat table. This isn't flat. What I was working on over there isn't flat. Nothing in here is flat. This has been an ongoing nuisance. And I can't believe I've put up with it for so long. The next drama is I don't have time today to do it. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna do it tomorrow, probably. Today I'm gonna try and just clean up all the edges, grind all the paint off, and then come back in full force tomorrow and weld it all up. My biggest concern is that nothing is gonna be square. Wanna hear you go. So it is a new day. I've bought some extra material, cut it all up, and I've ground off all the paint that's going to be, or could have been interacting with the weld. And I've also chamfered each edge that's going to be stuck together to hopefully get some more penetration into it. We are now done with preparation. We can now actually weld the frame together. I still don't know how I'm going to try and get these things square. We'll figure it out as we go. I've got a rough idea. Here's what I'm thinking. Start with these. And the only real flat bit of the table is this edge. So I might see. This was the hardest part. It wasn't trying to figure out how to set up the welder. It wasn't trying to figure out my technique on the welder. It wasn't cutting, it wasn't grinding, it wasn't chamfering. It was none of that. It was trying to figure out how to make square and plumb so that when this trolley was finished, it would stand up straight and roll around with no dramas and wouldn't rock when using it. But once I finally did get things set up, it was going pretty well until it appears my biggest issue isn't my ability to weld, but my ability or inability to cut. That's dreadful, but oh well, we'll have to live with our consequences and see if we can't fill it with weld. I found out that I cannot cut at 45 degrees at all. I can cut every other angle, but not 45 degrees, which led to me having to fill quite significantly large gaps, which as a beginner welder wasn't the best, but we made it work. They're not the prettiest, but they're doing the job. I'm sticking bits together, and surprisingly soon I'm filling all the gaps that are like in there. I didn't think I was going to be able to fill the gaps, but I'm glad I am able to, because make it look a little bit nicer. Anyway, on to the second one. Get sweaty doing that. I am so happy with the result of that. I know I've just built a frame out of 50 by 50 RHS, but it looks so much better than any other welding I've ever done before. Who would have thought? Preparation matters. Trying to fill gaps with weld sucks. Not all the welds are perfect. There's some that look a hell of a lot prettier than others. I'm moderately consistent. I'm not amazing, but I'm moderately consistent. And I think a lot of it now is just spending time doing it, just more and more welding. And like, I know this isn't very translatable to what I want to do, which is more sheet metal work. That's more stitch welding rather than seam. But I think just practicing and getting used to using a MIG welder has been so beneficial. So, next step, I really want to bolt the wheels on, but I don't have wheels, I don't have bolts that are going to go through this. So these are the wheels we're going to use. Each of them is going to have a brake, so I can brake all four corners. Bit overkill, but I just find it easier because then you can just get to one. Sometimes, you know, a brake's underneath it and it makes it a bit awkward. I don't have bolts to go all the way through it, nor do I have, which was what my plan was going to be, nutserts or rib nuts to put in there. Bit of a pain. So I've got this beautiful frame that I've just made, and what we're going to have to do is tech screw it, just for now. It's not that hard for me to change later. I can come along and flip, you know, my fork tongs in between the two wheels and pick it up with the front loader anytime. No big issue. So what we're going to do, get our trusty tech screw and our trusty washer and just tech screw them in there, because we do nothing but quality. Nothing but quality. this seat. I gotta get another one for when people come up. It's done. And it is gorgeous. I'm actually genuinely impressed with how well some of my welds turned out. I'm actually staggered because using the old stick welder, I can produce the occasional pretty looking weld, but it's very rare. This looks good. And it's, given that I've got nothing flat or square here, it's actually pretty square and it doesn't wobble. I think this turned out pretty good, to be honest with you. It's nice and strong, it's nice and sturdy. I thought it being so tall was gonna have issues with the whole thing rocking. Haven't had that issues yet. I tested it by making really quickly this little tray here at the bottom of it, and it worked out fine. So that's fantastic. We are chuffed. Unfortunately, it's not very translatable to what the next project is with the welder, which is sheet metal. But it was fun anyway. That's all I got. Oh. Sure, why not? So is it a new dish? Yes. I am Welder. It doesn't wobble much on the floor. Now the floor is not level, so that just may mean this is just as bad. Off in the corner. Never to be used again. No. It does need like a handle or something. And everything needs to be attached, quite frankly. And I need like a little tray for like Allen keys and stuff. I don't know yet.